Hey guys, Matt Marzillo here. In this video we're going to review some functions that we've already gone over and also introduce some new functions that I'm sure you'll find helpful. So let's get started. What we have right here is a nice little data set that lists out students and students information, right? So we have last name, first name, their height in feet and inches. We have a spare column here that we're going to be doing some work with, and also a student's gender. So we're going to be answering this list here of 7 questions by plopping functions down in column R that reference this data set. So let's jump right into it. Our first question, how many students are there? Very simple, right? We go equals, use the function count A. I'm going to do count A because that's just safe, right? If we simply did the count function, that would only count cells that have numbers in it. But let's just go with count A because that counts cells that have anything in it. And we will look at last name, range B2 to B12, close the parentheses, hit enter. Beautiful. 11 students. That works wonderfully. Okay, now we want to know how many male students are there. Okay, there's a new function that I'm going to introduce here, and that's called COUNTIF. So it adds an additional argument, is what we call it, and you can kind of see here. So we're going to input the first argument is the range of cells. That's what we placed in before. So we're going to select the gender or the sex column here. That's our first argument. And then the second argument is a criteria. So the cell has to equal something in order for us to count it, or in order for Excel to count it. And it has to equal M. So you open up a quote, you place M in there, you close the quote, and now we're done. We just need to close up the parentheses. Take a look at that syntax really quick. So your count if H2 through H12, comma, quote M, close the quote, parentheses. That's the syntax. Hit enter. We have 6 males. Okay, good. We have to do this for females too, and when we do the female count if, hopefully the totals in these 2 cells equal 11. So let's give it a try here. Equals count if, open the parentheses. Your first argument is the range. So that's going to be the same as last time. Hit the comma, move on to the next argument. Open the quote, F, close quote, parentheses, right? So same as last time, we're just checking for that F inside the cell instead of the M. Hit enter. Okay, perfect. 6 and 5 equals 11. We know we're all set here, and they worked as they should. Next question. What is the average height of all students in inches? Okay, so we have height in feet and inches. So what we need to do is we need to somehow convert these feet into inches and then add it to column F. Luckily, Excel has a function that is appropriately named convert. So we just type in equals convert, open the parentheses, and you can see right here we have 3 different arguments. We're going to put in a number or a reference to a number, which is going to be E2 in this instance. And then we have a from unit and a to unit. So it essentially acts as like a conversion factor for you, right? I'm sure you may have used websites out there or done it manually to convert from certain measurements to other measurements. Well, Excel does it automatically for you. It's a really neat feature. The one thing you have to know though is the abbreviations for each of the units. So in this instance, I know that the abbreviation for feet is FT. So you're going to open up the quote, put FT, close the quote, and we're converting it to inches. So you're going to open up the quote, and I know that the abbreviation for inches is IN. Close the quote. Okay, great. So what that's doing, that's going to convert 6 feet to inches. I think that's 72 inches. But we also want to make sure to add that cell right next to it so we get the total height. Okay, so this should be, if my math is right, 6 feet is 72 inches plus the 2, we should have 74 inches here for Chris. Great, perfect, 74 inches. That makes sense. And then we're easily just going to autofill. Drag it down for the rest of the students using relative cell referencing, right? And we have all their heights in inches. Now from here, it's a simple, what is the average height? It's a simple average function right here. So we hit equals, average, open the parentheses, and then we'll just select our range of heights. Wonderful. Great. 70 inches. That's the average height for all students. Perfect. Now this next one is, what is the average height of all male students? Well, luckily there is an average if function, right? So you type average if, and it's the same arguments that you use, or similar arguments that you use last time with the additional argument. So follow me here. You have a range that you're going to be pointing to. So we're going to check. We want to check to see if this range of cells contains M, right? And then the last final argument is going to average this range of cells. Okay, so before I hit enter, let's follow that syntax really quick. So we have average if, then we're going to check these cells here, H2 to H12, to see if it contains an M. And if it does, we're going to pluck the value from this range and include it into the average. Let's go ahead and hit enter. Okay, 72.5 inches is the average height for the males in this class. Let's try it again with the females. Just kind of practice it one more time. Equals, average, if, and then we're going to select the range that we're pointing to. We're going to be scanning this range of cells to see if it contains or if it equals F. So the cell actually has to equal F. So if it spells out female, it won't pick it up because it has the extra letters in there. It has to be F and only F. So that's why it's important that I say the cell has to equal F, right? So if the cell equals F, we're going to pluck the value from this range. I'm sorry. From this range and include it in the average calculation. Close parentheses. Okay, perfect. That makes a lot of sense, right? Men tend to be taller than women, and our overall population average height for the population sits somewhere in between the height for men and women. Okay, great. Lastly, who is taller, males or females? Well, that's easy for us to answer right now. We can just say it's the men, right? They're at 72.5 inches as opposed to 66.8 inches. But there's a neat little function that you can use in Excel, and there are people who go nuts with this function. You can do a lot of different things with it. It's simply the if function. So you type in if, you open the parentheses, and it's a logical test, right? So you're going to say if this value is greater than this value, comma, we want the function to spit out the word male. If it's not, we want it to spit out the word female. So let's review the syntax here one more time. We have three arguments, right? So if R7 is greater than R8, then male. If not, female. So the if true is always the first argument, and the if false is always the second argument. I forgot a quote there. Let's get that. Okay, that looks good. It should spit out the word male, right? And it does. Okay, wonderful. And you can see, if you were to change the average, let's say we just had a team of WNBA players in our classroom, and the average height is, and I'm just going to type it in here really quick, is 80 inches. Okay, see, it changed to female because R7 is no longer greater than R8. That's the way the if function works. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Have a good one. Hopefully you learned a bit here about these new functions, and I think you'll use them. Thanks a lot, guys.